Blessed love, welcome back to Wise Heart's Garden, where we plant seeds to grow you. I'm so grateful for you being here. If you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe. It will greatly help me out. I'm currently at 25 subscribers and I am trying to get to 50 so that I can live stream. Um, so, welcome back. Welcome back, and thank you for taking the time to be here. I am sharing my personal experience and about a recent trip to Ecuador. I was there for 6 weeks, and I've been back home for a few days now. Tomorrow will be a week, actually, and I've just been sitting with the entire experience and looking at my takeaways. And honestly, it's been deeper than what I expected. So, one of the biggest things that stood out to me was just around healing and how I understand it now versus how I understood it before my trip. It's continuing to evolve, but while I was there, I had the opportunity to slow down and really focus on myself, and I was able to join a German new medicine study group and just expansive and a different perspective. And while it's not widely accepted in Western allopathic medicine, it did open me up to just thinking about the mind body connection through a different lens. And it affirmed for me something that I've always thought, that we are multidimensional beings. We're not just physical beings. We are comprised of like the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, the energetic. And I'm realizing that healing for me um, includes all of these layers. Another important part of my experience that I wanted to touch on was revisiting the social tech framework created by LaRahna Hughes. Coming back to that and actually going through the full healing cycles, which when I came home last year from being in Cuenca, I was really focused on making choices that were aligned with my values. And what I saw when I returned to the framework and actually going through the template, just going through the entire process, was that I had not been looking at things from a holistic view. And so I had not been counting the cost or the losses. I had not been really looking at what my expectations were, my beliefs, and what my responses were. I had not been looking at all of this. And so for me to go through the complete healing cycle, I was able to again see some patterns in my behaviors and it's just helpful moving forward. I was able to release some things, but we actually used Lorana's book, The Revolution Must Come to Our House, Our Home. And I was just able to receive more clarity. And so that was, of course, helpful. And for a long time, I just approached healing from the physical level, like what I was eating, how I was moving my body, my routines. And those things matter. But I kept noticing this pattern. I would move forward and then I would stall out. Sometimes I even felt like I was going backwards. Um, but since I've been home, I can see more clearly that there was like this internal split. And I was at a retreat once where one of the facilitators um, like did a reading for me and basically said that I was double minded. And I didn't really completely understand that, and they weren't really able to explain it in a way that really landed for me. But me doing this work myself, I've been able to see how going through the healing cycles that I was actually doing, or my actions were not in alignment with what my values were or what my beliefs were. And so it was fascinating. Like, I'll give you an example. So for me, one of my values is around connection, being in community, and kindness, care. And when I have been in different situations that I actually took through the healing cycle, different incidents that had impacted me, traumatic events, I saw where I withdrew, like, from people that cared about me. And so that was not in alignment with what I wanted. And so I was really acting out of alignment with my values. And so that was interesting to me. Another big realization that showed up is that I've been hiding, and for a very long time. This is part of me working on that, is showing up in this space. Um, yeah, but not wanting to be fully seen, fully known, not wanting to be judged. That's the thing. And so that's what's been coming to me. And when I really sat with that, I could trace it back to younger experiences where I internalized judgment and learned to protect myself by staying small. And so, at the time, that protection made sense. It helped me to move through that time. But now it's limiting me. And so I'm just feeling that this healing is asking something new of me, and that is to be fully seen, to, yeah, to be seen with all my imperfections, um, flaws, and um, all of it. To just be seen, to show up and just share who I really am. That's what I'm being called to do. And so um, now I'm just working to take the attention off of what other people think, giving my energy to that, and just to bring it back to myself, to my thoughts, my intentions, my values. And I'm also working to really be clear about establishing boundaries, enforcing boundaries, clarity around those. So, communication, um, and communication around agreements. That was something that I'm really loving thinking more about when we're in relationship with others. Do we have agreements? Have we really communicated those things? I know that I have not. And so this is still new for me, but I see how important it is. And also to consciously choose who I am in community with, you know, um, and yeah, to really look at the work that others are doing, and what is embodied, what is something that we're working on, that we have repeated the cycle. I know that in one of the sessions while I was away, I was mentioning a class that I had taken where I was taught that 300 repetitions equals a habit, and 3,000 repetitions, it's embodied. Like, your body just naturally does that. Like, I have done some type of movement now daily for years, to the point that if I don't feel my best. And it's something that my body feels comfortable now. And so now it's actually like working to push myself beyond what I have done. Like I like to go for walks, I like to be out in nature, but I also like to be challenged, and like to be able to feel that my body is building its capacity, just like I'm building my capacity to be with more of life, to sit in the temporary discomfort of life, because things are not slowing down and change is happening all around me. And so I do not want to lean into old patterns of avoidance. And I want to really build my capacity in different, like I said, different layers. And so I thought about a moment during the trip where we were headed to a spa, Piedra de Agua in Baños, and I was so excited about going back to this spa. And so I was in a car, I was in the back seat, my seatbelt did not work. And the driver was driving very fast at times. And I know one time I looked up and it was over 90 miles an hour. And I didn't say anything. I had limited Spanish, but I had my phone. So I could have translated like I did in some other situations. Um, but that, since I've been back, and just thinking about my time and also about my patterns and what I have done. And so that particular moment, like it stands out to me because I could see how I participated in my own trauma by not speaking up, by not using my voice, by not advocating for myself or asking why the driver was driving at the rate of speed that he was driving at. I understand, I'm in a different place and people drive differently. And I had an opportunity. And so it just showed me this pattern of not speaking up when I have felt unsafe in the past. Like that same thing showed up. And so I have been able to really look at old patterns, unwanted beliefs, and I am working on subconscious beliefs, rewiring the brain. And so it's just fascinating for me. Um, to really take some time and to look. And so, yeah, instead of speaking up, I stayed quiet, which is something that I have done before. I did support myself in the moment with my breathing, and I also was carrying a couple of different flower essences with me, one which was for overwhelm, and I'll list the information about the flower essences if you're interested, and another one was for feeling safe in my body. And so I did take the flower essence. However, I continued to think about this while I was at the spa. And so, a spa experience is supposed or meant to be relaxing, right? From the time that you leave headed there to the time that you're headed back home. And so it's just interesting how that experience played out for me. But it's also, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to look back and to see these old patterns and to see what my response was so that I can make new choices. Um, but what I see now is that healing looks like making different choices in real time in those moments. And so speaking up, asking questions, advocating for myself, and not just calming my body down, but actually honoring what my body is communicating to me and telling me. And so, um, yes, just a very enlightening time. I had different experiences than the first time. Like the first time I remember coming home and I was like, I didn't see any bugs. And this time I saw like huge beetles, but I saw bugs. So that was like a different experience. This time I was there during their rainy season. So there was lots of rain, which was also another invitation to slow down, which I took full advantage of. And um, this time, last time I stayed with one other person. This time, I was in a different location and stayed with more people. And so that was the opportunity where I was learning about actually sitting down and discussing, what agreements we have if we're going to be living together. And so that was great for me to have that opportunity and to learn what that looks like and what is needed like in the future. And what else? Pretty much the food prices and things like that were about the same. But I also realized that I really wanted to prepare my own foods because while the foods were like economically, the foods were less expensive than here, like for a lunch, I also realized that like I have certain preferences. And so while it may be convenient to do a certain thing, I don't know about the ingredients that may be going into the food. And so I was able to enjoy some things. I really enjoyed having the soup with my meals. Um, yeah, but I thought about how I like to use a certain type of salt and how I don't want to use iodized salt and wondered, just about the ingredients. And so I thought about some things a little differently this time, and especially being able to cook in a way that I didn't last year. I'm trying to think of what else I wanted to share. I still enjoyed the heart-centered culture. I still enjoyed the opportunity to connect with people, and I enjoyed their presence, which feels different here. However, I am having more opportunities to engage with folks that really embody presence in their interaction. So I'm enjoying that. And I think that is it. But those are like the key takeaways for me during this time. And yeah, I will share about the flower essences and links for LaRahna Hughes, so that if you're interested in checking out her book for the healing cycles, I will link in the information about German New Medicine if you're interested in checking that out as well, the mind body connection, and um, what the belief is behind different illnesses. And I look forward to seeing you next time. If you're still here, remember, like, share, subscribe. That will really help me out. Thank you so much for being here. Take good care.